Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Double J podcast presented by Lake Central Media. Your two favorite podcasters are here, Jack Thiel and Giovanni Alcantara, bringing you the latest sports and news. And today we are on a new day, actually. Schedule got a little changed up with the snow days, so we're doing our first ever Wednesday podcast. Obviously, we're going to go back to Tuesdays next week. But Giovanni, what was your weekend top takeaway?
Well, to me, there's the Saints, there's the New Orleans Saints, and then there's everyone else.
You sound like Stephen A. Smith right now.
I mean, but seriously, the New Orleans Saints are just such a great team. Every team that's below them, they just have one major flaw. Can we find one major flaw in the Saints? Is their defense great?
Their defense can be weak at times. It can be weak at times. I'll give you that.
Yes, but teams like the Chiefs are ranked in the bottom half in total defense.
Oh yeah, their defense is atrocious.
They beat the St. Louis Rams. Wow, the Los Angeles Rams. They just simply have better skill players than everyone else. Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas, Drew Brees. We used to talk about how great Le'Veon Bell, Antonio Brown, and Ben Roethlisberger are. These three are just great.
I don't really talk about Ben Roethlisberger well about him, but yeah, the Saints started the year losing to the Buccaneers and went to overtime with the Browns, and now look at them. I mean, yeah, it's a quick turnaround for them, and you got to give them credit for that. I mean, this team is just like a locomotive right now, and you can't stop it. I mean, they're kind of in an easy division right now. The Panthers are slipping. The Falcons are – I don't even know what's going on with the Falcons, and then you got the Buccaneers who are just irrelevant to football right now. My one, I'm going to say, this isn't really sports, but I want to say this. That Lion King trailer was insane. Oh my gosh, Giovanni.
I don't disagree with it, but
I'm sorry for those graphics, man. That was like some 20K stuff right there. But if we're gonna go to sports, I think Zion Williamson just hates basketball rooms. If we're being honest right now, I mean, geez, Pete, Giovanni. I mean, if you guys saw the IU and Duke game on Tuesday night, he just slammed and slammed and slammed and slammed. And if you saw him in the Maui tournament, slammed and slammed and slammed. I don't know what he has against basketball rims, but Zion Williamson is definitely trying to break him. And we're going to go to the NFL because that's probably the biggest thing going on this year. Is it time we start to make the Chargers a case for one of the top teams in the NFL after beating the Cardinals in a pretty decisive way? Phillip Rivers only, I think, had one incompletion that whole game, Giovanni. Is it time we put the Chargers up there with the Rams, Chiefs, and Saints?
Absolutely. I mean, I said that last year. If they had a field goal kicker, they could have been one of the top teams.
Was it Nick Novak last year? Was he there? I know he's been there. I don't know if it was Novak.
It feels like the Chargers are cutting their kicker every other week, so
I
don't even know who's kicking right now. It could be anyone by next week.
It could.
But in my opinion, the Los Angeles Chargers, they should be considered a contender. Phillip Rivers is putting up incredible numbers, and to me, he should be considered for the MVP. And they're only one game behind Kansas City.
Yeah.
They could still win this division.
Yeah, they're 8-3 right now.
West.
They do have that loss against the Broncos. And their other two losses are the Rams and Chiefs, other than that Broncos loss 2 weeks ago. You're right, one game behind Kansas City. They're 7th in total points scored on the offense and 4th in total points allowed on the defense. They're at a positive 88-point differential right now. And you're right. I mean, Phillip Rivers, it's weird. These old quarterbacks are now playing their best football, and it's kind of getting weird right now. I mean, Phillip Rivers has always been a good quarterback. It's just he's been always like on a mediocre or decent team, a team that's never been able to finish. And right now you're seeing the final product of these Chargers. I mean, Rivers, Bosa, Allen, I know Melvin Gordon's out. Austin Eckler's not even a bad backup running back in my mind. I mean, he's provided a lot of growth for this team. They got the, I think, second-year rookie receiver, Mike Williams from Clemson, who's been making some big plays. They don't really have a tight end. I mean, Antonio Gates is still there, isn't he?
Hunter Henry did get hurt in training camp, I believe.
So the defense has been great, and the offense has been great. And you're right, for the Chargers. And also, we finally say it is time for Blake Bortles to sit on the bench as Cody Kessler.
I've been saying it for years.
Will get his first start with – this is his first start with the Jacksonville Jaguars in his career there. Cody Kessler. What do we say about him, Giovanni?
He's 0-8 as a starter.
And all those games were with those Cleveland Browns.
And also doesn't help that this weekend they are playing the Indianapolis Colts, and Leonard Fournette also got suspended.
Yeah, Leonard Fournette's now out, and Carlos Hyde will now be taking over the role. Yeah, Cody Kessler, he has 6 touchdowns in 12. He had 6 touchdowns in 12 games with the Browns. But Blake Bortles is also 24-48 in his career, and I also gave him a lot of money after being 1 quarter away from that Super Bowl. My bad. So
They were up by 10 going into the fourth quarter against the Patriots. It might have been more.
It's rough for them. It's been a rough year. You go back to last week with the fights. You go back with the quarterback controversy, and then you go to what they were last year, and the defense is not even close to what they were last year.
And I just want to say this, a little bit off topic here. Leonard Fournette and Shaq Lawson got into a fight. I want to ask, whose idea was it to have them both escorted into the exact same tunnel at the exact same time?
Yeah, that was not smart. I saw that as well.
People get paid to make those decisions. Hey,
Leonard Fournette pulled up on him at the sidelines as well, and then you literally got both of them right next to each other. And no offense to these guys, but you really think you got security that's going to hold these huge guys back? No, these guys are huge. But yeah, that was stupid.
I don't even know.
I don't understand why you would do that.
Think about it. Someone said, hey, we're going to escort him out. Let's put him out at the same time. Listen, I don't care how much security you have. Is it really that hard to just say,
you go there, we're done. You guys will never see each other for the rest of the year. Have a nice day. That's all you got to say. And, talking about those Panthers, they're slipping, and they did slip on Sunday as the Seattle Seahawks are rising up and are now game behind the Panthers with that wild card. And you got the Seahawks, Giovanni. Great schedule ahead of them, and by great, mean easy.
They get to play the Cardinals twice, and they get to play the 49ers. Now, they do have to play the Vikings.
At home. On
Monday Night Football.
At home. That's huge. And they play the Chiefs.
Not an easy game.
At home. They have 49ers. I'm going to go in order. 49ers, Vikings, 49ers, Chiefs, and Cardinals. One road game, and that's at San Francisco. That's a win right there. You've got the Chiefs and Vikings at home. They're going to beat the Vikings in my mind. I'll take them over the Vikings. Chiefs, I don't know. I think their combined 2 losses against the Rams is 8. That's close. I don't want to say they're going to win that game, but I'm going to say this. If I wake up on whatever morning they play, that morning after that, and I see the Seahawks win, I'm not surprised. You're home. The 12th man is always there for you, Seattle, and they're definitely going to be there. They have the best rushing offense in the NFL right now, averaging about 147 yards a game. You got Russell Wilson running the ball. You got Chris Carson, who I really actually like. I don't even know who else is there.
And at one point this season, the Seahawks had the #1 rushing attack in the league, and we see how well Russell Wilson has done in the past. Remember when he had Marshawn Lynch?
He's a clutch dude. Clutch dude. You've seen it, and when you're going into the final minutes of the game, Russell Wilson is the guy you want to have. And my top 5 quarterbacks you want in the final minute, he's definitely there. And he's playing really good as of late. They literally just went to Carolina and won. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, Graham Gano missed a field goal, but still, that's a tough win right there. You're going all the way to Carolina against Cam Newton and Christian McCaffrey.
And Carolina's a good home team.
And literally, Christian McCaffrey ran all over that Seattle team. So, for them to come out with a win, that's just huge. And no one's really talking about them because it's always about those, what's it called? The 3 teams we always talk about, the Chiefs, the Saints, the Rams. And talking about the wild card, we're going to head over to the AFC. And the Ravens got a huge game this week as they travel to the Atlanta, the place of those struggling Falcons. And Lamar Jackson is now reported to start, Giovanni. Is that a smart choice, even if Joe Flacco is able to play?
In my opinion, I think Ravens fans at this point, they should say, listen, we've seen enough of Joe Flacco. Could Joe Flacco get this team to the playoffs? Absolutely, but they need a new energy. They need something new. And listen, Lamar Jackson, yes, he's had his mistakes, but he's given them something they have not had, and that is something to get excited for on offense. Joe Flacco does not give you much to get excited for. Yes, he's experienced. Yes, he's been the MVP of the Super Bowl. But
Joe Flacco is just like that boring quarterback you watch in those movies. Just a typical quarterback you watch in the movies. Then you have that one guy that's just insane, and that's Lamar Jackson. He's 2-0 as a starter. Yes, like you could say the 2 games were easy. In my mind, he's better than most running backs in the NFL at running the ball, in my mind. You're right, he does need to develop that pass game. It's a little rough, but he's young. This is going to be his 3rd start this week. You definitely need to develop that. And last week, they scored their most points since week 1. In week 1, they played those Buffalo Bills. You got to start Lamar Jackson. He's definitely going to change this offense. Gus Edwards. I mean, who's this dude? Now he's playing some great football with Lamar Jackson.
I said last week to start him in fantasy football.
Mike Wallace, he's been picking it up lately. Michael Crabtree, I think, is also on the team. I'm not really sure on the Ravens. But if you're going to want to win, and if you want to make this wild card, you start Lamar Jackson. If I'm a Raven fan, if you want to win, you start Lamar Jackson. I don't want to see Joe Flacco. You might be cleared and be able to play. You might be the most healthiest you've ever been your whole career. You got to go with Lamar Jackson on here. He's just a spark to a boring Ravens offense that's not so boring right now. And Lamar Jackson can catch, he can run, he can throw. And we definitely can know the running part. And he did get criticized by it. You know, the critics, they said, yeah, but do we trust this? Is he just going to be a runner? He did throw the ball a lot in college, but he was also a prolific runner. He's going to have to develop the pass game, but I'm definitely going to have to go in with that starter. And going to, teams rising up and falling down, those Lakers are definitely inconsistent, Giovanni. They lost, I think, a couple days ago to the Magic once again.
And they got blown up at the Nuggets last night.
About to say that. LeBron had his worst game of the year, actually, last night. Why do you think this team is just so inconsistent now?
LeBron just needs time to develop the young players like Lonzo Ball and Brandon Ingram. We're going to get to it a little bit later. If maybe by the trade deadline, we're going to see some of these young pieces maybe moved. And listen, there's been talks of Bradley Beal having interest in coming to LA.
That'd be huge. That'd be huge. I said this. They're young. They're going to have to develop. LeBron's never really worked with a young team, I should say. You go back maybe to Cleveland when he came back. I wouldn't say they were so young because they had experience without him. But you guys like Ball, Ingram, Kuzma,
Josh Hart.
These guys don't really know what it's like to play with a guy like LeBron James. So it's kind of, they're getting used to it. But they need a shooter as soon as possible. You're right. Bradley Beal would be the most ideal. I'd love to see him get Klay Thompson in the offseason, but I'm kind of going too far here. Kyle Korver, I think, would be a great fit. Low money, they'd be a great fit. But yeah. And the Bulls are also struggling really bad. This could be one of their worst seasons in maybe franchise history, ever since they probably got Derrick Rose. Is it time we say goodbye to Fred Hoiberg?
Well, here's the thing. Firing the coach is not going to turn around the system.
It's not going to turn it around, but still.
But you need to start seeing something out of the younger players. If you're a Bulls fan.
And people give the excuse, Chris Dunn, Markkanen are both out. But still, Fred Hoiberg's got pieces right now. You got Zach LaVine, who's playing like an MVP this year. You got Jabari Parker, who's supposed to be a playmaker. You got you're not going to know. You're probably not going to know this. Ryan Arkadidiakono, who's done nothing, but he's done something actually this year. He's really nothing. He's really nothing, but he's done something this year. That's how I'm trying to say this actually. Wendell Carter's been a quiet player. You got Bobby Portis. I'm pretty sure he's hurt right now as well. So yes, there are a lot of missing pieces on this Bulls team. But if these missing pieces come back and you're not winning, I think it's time to get rid of him. And I don't know who would they get. They just need an offense. I think that's what they need. And who also needs an offense is Markelle Fultz. And Fultz is now trying to – he said he wants to lead the 76ers. He doesn't like his place there one bit. But is it really the 76ers' fault, or is it just Markelle Fultz's fault?
I just really don't understand how Markelle Fultz has lost his way so much.
He said it's mental more than anything. That's what some of the doctors said that met with Markelle Fultz. They said it's more mental than his shot.
To me, he has no future in the 76ers organization at all. They've already said.
No, they don't.
There's
too many. Jimmy Butler's the point guard in my mind.
He absolutely needs to overcome whatever it is with his jump shot.
I'll tell you one thing. If he comes to the Lakers, I just quit. If he goes to the Lakers, I quit because he can't shoot as well. I'll tell you this, Jamoni. If he goes to the Lakers, I quit this podcast. If Markelle Fultz joins the Lakers, I will quit because Markelle Fultz is one of the worst shooting point guards in the league, and you're going to add him to one of the worst shooting teams in the league? Stop. I'll lose it.
It's just amazing how much he's lost his way. He was the number one pick.
Maybe the Suns go for him. They need a point guard. Him. Devin Booker said he wants to build a super team around him.
Would adding Markelle Fultz really?
I want to see him with a different team.
He deserves a second chance.
He does.
There's a reason he was drafted
deserves a second chance. He was the number one pick. Yeah. College football. This is the first time, Giovanni, we can react to the rankings, and the rankings were probably how everyone said it. Alabama 1, Clemson 2, Notre Dame 3, And now those Georgia Bulldogs coming at number 4. Giovanni, what is your reaction to these top 4 rankings?
To be honest, I'm really not surprised. But I don't think Georgia's going to remain at 4 because I don't think they're going to beat Alabama in the SEC championship. I could see Alabama running away with this game by halftime, to be honest. I don't think Georgia...
I'll go third quarter. But, yeah, you talk about, the conference championships. And we have a lot of good games that can mean so much. And the first one I want to talk about is this Oklahoma and Texas game. And you got to believe, Georgia loses, Oklahoma wins. Oklahoma's the favorite 4 spot right there.
Absolutely.
Because their only loss is to Texas. And if they can avenge that loss with a conference championship and 1 loss only, you got to believe that they're going to be the number 4 team. Then let's head over to, like you said, the SEC championship. Alabama and Georgia. Alabama's obviously a favorite to win that by a lot. UCF and Memphis. UCF going to be out with Milton. They're going to get their backup quarterback.
Awful injury that happened.
It was a gruesome leg injury.
Do not look it up.
I was actually watching it.
I saw it on Twitter. Do not look it up.
Do you think, let's say UCF loses, how much will the committee factor that without their starting quarterback?
Well, I don't think the committee is big on UCF. A lot of analysts...
I'm not big on UCF. I can't stand that team. I really can't.
Jack is not a big UCF
I am
fan.
not.
You heard it here.
And
in case the last 4 shows weren't enough for you.
I can't stand them. You got Clemson and Pitt. Oh,
I think Pitt will...
I
I think Pitt might hang in there for a little.
They did hang around with Notre Dame. I will give them that. I mean, Pitt did lose to Miami, though, and Miami's not good this year.
The game I'm really excited for is the Big Ten.
I'm rooting for Northwestern. They dropped in the rankings, too, for winning a close game with Illinois. I can't wait for Northwestern to win this game. I'm calling it right now. Northwestern is winning this game. They're going to run with this. Clayton Thorson at quarterback. Bowser at the running back. I only know this because I watched them play Notre Dame. If they did not play Notre Dame, Giovanni would have done nothing about this Northwestern team. I'm going with the Northwestern team, man. Ohio State, I'm sorry. You guys lost to Purdue. Northwestern's taking this one, Giovanni.
I just can't believe Northwestern's lost.
They've been on a roll. They started 1-3, and what's their only loss since then?
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame.
Let me name the loss. Notre Dame. That's not a bad loss.
Akron.
And
Duke.
Akron.
And Michigan. And Michigan by 3 and Duke. Yes, that's
Akron.
But you look who they beat. They went to Purdue and won. Ohio State didn't go to Purdue and won. They got blown out. I'm taking Northwestern. I gotta take them, Giovanni.
I can't realistically see this. Listen, I always say I don't count Urban Meyer out ever.
I'm counting him out. I don't like Urban Meyer. I'm taking Northwestern. I mean it.
All right, now it's time for everyone's favorite segment, Fact or Fiction. Jack.
Is it really their favorite segment, Giovanni?
It's my personal favorite.
Well, will UCF make the playoffs?
Fact. It's not going to happen. I'm just going to say it's a fact. Listen. Okay.
I'm going to go fiction, but Giovanni, you can explain your reasoning. I want to hear this, actually.
All right. So if Oklahoma loses the Big 12 championship, let's see. That puts you...
I know. Keep going. I want to keep. That puts Oklahoma back. That puts them at 2
Oklahoma
losses.
back. If Georgia loses to Alabama, which
that puts
I think
them at
will
2 losses, which puts them back.
And then if Ohio State,
that puts them 2 losses and makes them go back.
Listen, even if all these things happen, will UCF make it? No.
There were more.
But I just love a world where
Giovanni,
UCF gets in at 4.
You said more ifs than UCF's played ranked teams. So I'm gonna say fiction. The Lakers will trade Lonzo Ball or Brandon Ingram.
If they are going to trade one of them, it's going to be Brandon Ingram. I think Lonzo Ball is better suited to play with LeBron James, in my opinion.
He is.
Brandon Ingram, LeBron boasts about him all the time on his Instagram.
Oh,
Calls
yeah.
him young king.
Oh, yeah, that's what you got to do, Giovanni. Yeah, I hope Lonzo stays with the Lakers. Ingram, I really like Ingram. He's got that mentality. He's just a quiet kid that just has that mentality. The Redskins will sign a new quarterback so they can try to win this division.
I mean, if there was anyone out there, then
I'll go fact. I think they will. I don't think Colt McCoy.
Who are they going to sign?
I don't think Colt McCoy is a savior. They want to sign Mark Sanchez, which I don't understand. It's time to sign Colin Kaepernick, man.
He's okay.
It is.
I'm not saying that
it is time to sign Colin.
I'm
Kaepernick.
not saying that Colin Kaepernick does not deserve to play in the league. Listen, Exhibit A in the Colin Kaepernick case, Nathan Peterman. Exhibit B.
It is time to sign Colin Kaepernick.
Exhibit
or get
B, Mark
Robert
Sanchez.
Griffin off the practice squad or whatever he's on in the Ravens. It is time to sign him. You're trying to win a division right here. Get the quarterback you need, not get some old whoever butt fumble quarterback that's on. I can't stand Mark Sanchez. You have quarterbacks out there that can win you this division.
I want to remind you, Jack, Colin Kaepernick is suing the NFL.
I don't care who he's suing. You got to play the
He's
quarterback.
not getting signed by anyone.
He needs to. Him or Robert Griffin in my mind. I'd like to see RG3 back with the Redskins. That'd be a little homecoming right there for him. The Braves are now a top team with Josh Donaldson.
Fact.
I'll go fiction just because of the young. And Josh Donaldson had a really off year this year. And they also signed Brian McCann.
But I think they're really close. And I think this puts them.
I think when the Sox sign Bryce Harper, it's going to be game over. That's all I got to say.
We're having an entire show dedicated to that
We
if
will.
they sign Machado
If
or
they-
Bryce Harper.
We will probably have a podcast the next day because we probably won't be able to handle our emotions. Duke will lose 8 games after losing in the Maui Championship to a very good Gonzaga team.
Stop. That's ridiculous.
I think that's a fiction too. I mean, I think they showed last night, you ain't gonna come to Duke and just beat us. Yeah, we lost, but we're unstoppable. Is Gonzaga gonna beat an unbeatable team this year after beating the super team Duke?
No college team, in my opinion, is ever unbeatable. So, no, they're not unbeatable.
Well, I think they could finish the year undefeated a regular season. They play in the worst conference of all top 10 ranked teams. Their best player, Roy Hachimura, is a baller, dude. This dude's from Japan. This dude can ball. But they do have to go to North Carolina before they get in their easy conference. They played North Dakota State Monday night, and they won by 40. So, if Gonzaga can survive this non-conference schedule with Tennessee and North Carolina left, they're definitely not going to lose a conference game because their conference is just – they're so weak. I mean, oh my gosh, it's so weak.
Come tournament time, Gonzaga always plays teams. To me, they never get embarrassed.
I feel like this is the first year Gonzaga is not overhyped. They've always been ranked high, but not that good. This year, I'm telling you, man, this team is something.
And speaking of the team they beat, Duke, Jack, do you think there's chemistry problems with Duke?
I got to go with yes. I was watching that game against Maui. That's where I think it kind of starts. In the final minute, RJ Barrett went 0 for 5. Zion had no shots. Cam Reddish had no shots. The other 2 shots were by Delore and Jack White. Don't get me wrong. These guys are trying to play for money in the NBA. They want to get that top pick. But being a ball hog is not going to work. And they showed it last night. They did show against IU last night. Don't get me wrong. But if you see, RJ Barrett could have probably went to Zion at least once or twice in that final minute. The tied a game. Zion tied the game already. So I think for RJ, I know in my mind, he's the best player on that team. For basketball, he's the best. Zion's obviously the more prototype player you want.
I think Barrett is more likely to go number 1 in the draft.
I don't think that because in a typical world of a GM, Zion's the more appealing pick. He's going to bring you the merchandise. He's going to bring you the fans. He's going to bring you everything. And if Cleveland has the first pick, they're taking Zion. I'm telling you. But yeah, I don't know if it's something to worry about right now, but I'm just saying maybe something to look at the games because RJ Barrett 0 for 5. I mean, you got to realize you got to pass to your team as well. But yeah, Giovanni, some soccer news going on this week. This is all yours, man. You just take it away.
Well, I'll start with all the Champions League news yesterday. There wasn't anything really shocking. Juventus and Manchester United both have clinched a spot in the knockout rounds. Yesterday, Man City actually did tie with Lyon, which was a bit surprising. But other than that, the groups at the bottom half between Group D and Group F, it's basically over. Bayern Munich at this point has clinched their spot into the knockout stage. Ajax has clinched their spot into the knockout stage. Real Madrid and Roma played yesterday. I thought Roma was going to run away with that game watching the first half, but Real Madrid just came back and played the way they did, and it's been tough for them this year. Very, very tough, especially in La Liga, but them and Roma are
now
set to go through.
Giovanni comes to me yesterday morning. He goes, Jack. Dude, have you heard about this rivalry between these two soccer teams? I don't know really that much about soccer. I'm a little Chicago Fire fan, but I like the FIFA World Cup. Giovanni, please explain this game to in Argentina. Please explain what's going on here because you told me, and tell them what you told me because that's what they need to hear.
So, in Argentina, the Copa Libertadores final was supposed to be this weekend. It was the second leg. So, if for those unfamiliar with soccer, there's 2 legs, and they And what that basically means is they play one game.
Just tell them the rivalry, dude. What you were telling me, man, that like shook me a little
it is Boca Juniors versus River Plate. And if you're not familiar with these two teams,
bit. I'm not.
I just want you to imagine this. Imagine if Real Madrid and Barcelona met in the Champions League final. If you're not a soccer person, okay, that's fine. Imagine if Duke and North Carolina met in the March Madness
since
final.
We're in the region, do you remember? The Sox and Cubs 10 times. Or do you remember that Christian Laettner play? He stepped on the player. Imagine that 10 times worse. Now explain what you're talking about.
Before the first leg, I'm not making this up. These people were family members, Jack. One of them, I'm not sure which team they supported. One of them burnt the other's house down. We laugh, but
that's terrible.
They burnt the other's.
It's a soccer game. How do you burn someone's house down?
Oh my goodness. This looks so terrible.
That's someone's life. How do you burn a house down?
These people are family members. Imagine if they were just strangers to each other, Jack.
Still, how do you burn, especially the house?
They had to play both. They were forced to play the first game with no away support. That means no opposing fans could come into the stadium. That's how dangerous it was. And now the game is going to be moved. This actually just came out. It's going to be moved to an undisclosed location. There's been talks of moving to the U.S., specifically Miami.
They should move it to the U.S. because I don't think we're that violent.
But again, folks, just combine every single rivalry you can think of. Bears, Packers, White Sox, Cubs. For people around here.
That's a lot.
Imagine if, Jack, from people like me and you, imagine like if the Munster Mustangs met Lake Central in the state finals. It will never happen, but just imagine it.
A Sox and Cubs World Series, kind of. The whole city would burn down.
Imagine if the Mets and Yankees met in the World Series.
Yeah, that'd be pretty bad. So are they going to televise this game on national TV?
I do believe the first leg was on Fox Deportes. I'm not sure.
I don't know if I have that.
Yeah, that's one of those channels you probably have to look up if you have. But yeah, there's your soccer news for the week. This is absolutely unbelievable.
Giovanni, you're kind of, getting pretty excited about that. I mean,
it's just so unbelievable.
People burning houses down. I think they attacked
the second game has not been played yet because the Boca Juniors bus was attacked by River Plate fans.
I couldn't even do that. But geez, that's.
And listen, this doesn't happen in other countries because people are sent.
I feel like
to life in jail.
I feel like I'd hear about it if I didn't even hear about this. Wow. Okay. Well. We went very hostile right there. But we're gonna chill it down to some very own Lake Central High School. We're gonna go to some sports. The Lady Indians girls basketball had a game last night and defeated Munster in
rivals
convincing fashion. Yeah, rivals. Indians after that slow start on a 2-game win streak right now. One on Saturday night against Highland, beat another region team last night against those Munster Mustangs. The girls played great. Sarah Zabrecki, Megan Long, and Taylor Jacksich had a big game. Taylor Jacksich had a buzzer beater to end the first half. These Lady Indians are balling right now. I mean, you asked why they 2-7, I think. It's because they had a really tough schedule. I mean, they're no joke. Habenthal really shocked, I should say. He's never really had this bad of a start. He's got a young team. He's always had that old team. He's always had those senior leaders like last year. Ladowski, Robard, Smolin, Mathis.
Kirkwood.
You go to 2 years ago, Kylie Furman. Yeah, it's tough for him. He's only got 3 seniors and only one of them starts, and that's Megan Long. So for Habenthal, it's going to be tough. And we go to boys basketball. They actually have a game tomorrow night.
Gary Westside.
Lighthouse.
Sir, Gary Lighthouse. My bad.
The annual matchup when Gary Lighthouse comes to our Lake Central gym. Lake Central, they won last year. It was a close game, actually. And you know what the interesting news was? I kind of like to reflect back on this. So me and my partner, Colm Tomaszewski, called the Gary Lighthouse game last year.
Lake Central alumni, Colm Tomaszewski.
Yeah, and 3 days later, or 2 days, the coach dies in a car crash for Gary Lighthouse. And it was just shocking because I literally saw the guy right there. And, it's really shocking. And the next home game I was at, they had a moment of silence for him. And, I mean, I didn't know. Literally. And I've talked to him actually before. I mean, being a commentator, I like to, find out about teams I don't really know much about. I actually had a conversation. It was a great conversation with him, but when I found that out, I texted Coleman. I said, dude, look what just happened. And, it was hard. But, yeah, Lake Central's going to come in, try to get their first win of the year against Gary Lighthouse. They've lost to Andrean and South Bend, Washington. Giovanni, me and you were at that South Bend, Washington game calling it. Lake Central had a 3-point lead going into that third quarter.
They hung with them for a while.
And South Bend, Washington called a timeout, and I guess that was game over. Vaughn, I don't even remember his first name. He had a huge game. He had 5 threes in that second half. We saw a dunk by Petty. We'll see what we see tomorrow night. See how Melodzik responds to this 0-2 start. Lake Central's kind of been used to this because they kind of start the year tough. We'll see how it goes, but like we say, Lake Central's schedule is no joke. You've got Chesterton, Valpo, Maryville, Munster. I'm probably forgetting LaPorte. You got to go to Warsaw. There's probably other teams I'm forgetting about, but McCutcheon. If you know some of your fans out there, it's Marquette or McCutcheon. I'm not I think it's McCutcheon. For IU fans out there, Fenice. He actually played for them. Freshman IU right now. I actually got to call the game 2 years ago with Stefan Kreshenik, another LC alum who's at IU Bloomington right now. So it's really cool to see that, and his little brother is actually on the team right now. So it's cool to see his little brother. But you kind of when we call games, Giovanni, we look back at the players we called. Sasha, these region great players. Sasha Stefanovic, recently Brandon Newman, Fenice. I mean, it's cool to call these kids and see them grow and to be something into, college. I think it's neat,
I had the honor of calling Demezy Anderson.
Yeah,
when Lake Central played South Bend Riley.
He's at IU as well. So, it's always – and we did it for football too with Maryville, Ramsey, who's going to Ball State.
Justin Ramsey.
It's always neat to call a game for someone that's going to go to a D1 school. It's always neat because they have the chance to do something that some high school athletes can't do. And it's cool to see him, we'll go in, what's it called? Instance, Glenn Robinson. We didn't call the games, but you know how cool it had to be calling the Glenn Robinson basketball game? And now look at him. He's in the NBA.
He was ranked in the ESPN.
Exactly.
And that never happens around here.
Brandon Newman is probably the best player here because he's the fourth best in the state. You can guess where the rest are, Giovanni. Lalumir. That's where the best players are. But, yeah, boys got a game tomorrow night against Gary Labs. Try to get their first win. Well, we will be live streaming that. So if you're listening to this on our YouTube page, you can always check it out on there. If you're listening on Spotify, Apple, SoundCloud, whatever you're listening on, go to our YouTube page and search LCTV. You'll see the Dreamcatcher logo, and it'll be right there. Game time is 7 o'clock, Giovanni, and now we do some fantasy football. And lately, we've been right about our predictions these last 2 weeks. And, Giovanni, who do you want to add this week? Maybe some people don't know about.
Curtis Samuel.
It's true.
He's played great for the Panthers. A couple weeks ago, he did have a bit of a rough game, but past 2 games, he's caught a touchdown. Cam Newton likes to throw deep to him. I see no reason not to pick him up if you need some wide receiver help. Player to drop, Alex Collins. Gus Edwards is clearly taking over. Alex Collins, maybe, again, I always say this with running backs. You might not have another option if you have Alex Collins.
Yeah, running backs sometimes are rare. For me, I'm going to add Josh Adams. I probably said that last week, but I'm going to say it again. He had 22 carries against the Giants last week. He had a 51-yard touchdown, but I got called back. I think it's time to add Josh Adams. He's rated as a running back 2 this week. One player to drop. I think it's time to say goodbye to a Scantling from the Packers. I think it's goodbye. He had a good run.
I had him for a few weeks. I never started him.
I think it's time to say goodbye. I think it's time to say have a nice season. Giovanni, who would you add? Or who would you play? My bad. Who would you play that maybe most people are not going to play in the PPR league? Probably
Sammy Watkins. He has a great matchup in the Oakland Raiders, and
that's a very skilled offense.
Indeed, I think he could have a big game this week. He's been inconsistent. It's hard to trust him, but I see no reason not to start him if maybe you have someone on a bye or injury. Jack, who would you play this week?
Look, Giovanni, I'm a man of many bold takes, and I think we both know that. Oh, no. I want to take a bold take right here, actually. If you're deep in a league, and let's say your quarterback, like Matt Ryan, my quarterback, has the Ravens, you don't want to play him, but I'm going to play him. And there's a quarterback on that free agency you want to play.
Oh, no.
Go pick up your man, Cody Kessler. I want you to play Cody Kessler this week. I don't know. It's a bold take. It probably won't work out good for you fantasy boys. If you want to mess up someone's year and try to go someone that might not do good and could do good, play him. I'm just saying, Cody Kessler, just play Cody Kessler. I don't know what to do. I mean, I'm in my playoffs. I don't really know who to play that wouldn't no one play. Maybe, I don't even know. Play Cody Kessler. Just play the dude. Or Duke Johnson or someone. But if you need a quarterback, go for Cody Kessler.
All right, so I'm going to be serious with my take. I do have one more person to add. Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, he's good. Yeah. I'd like Cody Kessler, though.
I mean, if for some reason you had like someone like Andy Dalton starting, he's out for the season.
But like I said, it's a bold take, Giovanni. That's why I also said Duke Johnson as my backup. Who would you not play this week?
Tight ends, it's the same thing. You especially with tight ends, you really might not have another option. Tight ends don't pop up on the waiver wire that often. Evan Ingram. I have Evan Ingram and Austin Hooper.
Isn't he questionable? I think he's questionable, isn't he?
Well, if he plays, don't start.
And he's against the Bears.
Yes, Evan Ingram.
You're not going to do anything against the Bears. I'm sorry, Evan Ingram. I had you in fantasy last year, but you're against the Bears. Sayonara. Who would I not play? I think it's Taylor Gabriel.
Shocking.
I think Allen Robinson's going to have a huge day. He's due. Last 2 games, I think he has like 7 catches for 50-something yards. He had a tough matchup with Darius Slay against the Lions. And he had one with Xavier Rhodes against the Vikings. I don't really know that much about the Giants. All I know is I got rid of Eli Apple, who was one of their top corner or secondaries. I think it's the Allen Robinson show. I mean, whoever plays, Chase Daniel, Mitch Trubisky, I don't really know the full story and what's going on there.
That's something to watch out for this
I think Chase Daniel, maybe this first game was for him to, get suited. I think this game, if he plays, he's just going to throw some deep balls at A-Rob, and I think it's going to work out great. But also, play Jordan Howard. The Giants have a weak run defense. That's why I'm saying Jordan Howard.
Or Tariq Cohen.
Jordan Howard, he's due for a big game. I mean, he's had a tough year with the rise of Tariq Cohen and the fumbles he's had and not getting the most touches that he's been getting, these past years. And it's rough for a young guy, especially like him, to do that. So I'm going to say Allen Robinson or Jordan Howard. They both got favorable matchups in my mind. Thanks for all tuning in. Remember, we were on Twitter. We'll alert you on anything. Giovanni, we forgot to alert him on our change of schedule. So don't worry, guys. We will be back on next Tuesday. Don't worry.
Hopefully.
We'll be able to react to those rankings that come out on Sunday for college football. Maybe Bryce Harper gets signed. Hopefully that works out. But go follow our Twitter. We are on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, YouTube on the YouTube page, LCTV. Give us a question. We're always open to answering some questions. If you want to join the show, maybe you got a take or something you want to talk about that maybe we don't know about. I mean, Giovanni brought up soccer, which I don't really know much about.
Or maybe one of us said something ridiculous.
Yeah, and you don't agree with us because not everyone agrees with me and Giovanni. So thank you all for tuning in. This is the Double J Podcast presented by Lake Central Media.